include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful, clear morning, and we've just found these two lions, male and female, perhaps a mating pair, not far from camp. Isn't that fantastic? Welcome. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Safari Live. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this morning is VM. We've got Brent and Gert on the other vehicle, and a little bit later, Jamie will head out on her bushwalk with Jandre. Now, we are very, very fortunate. We found, looks like a mating pair of lions, not far from camp. And also, let's not forget the ladies, Rebecca and Jerry, in final control this morning, also with us. It's a great, great morning of clear skies, as I mentioned, and you could see that earlier as we started. And we haven't had clear morning skies for quite some time. It's been overcast quite a lot, but the temperature is very cool because of that. It's about 17 degrees Celsius or about 63 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is much cooler than we are used to. A lovely, cool morning. And these lions appear to be very, very sleepy. Isn't that amazing, though? How affectionate they are. The male just resting his head on the female. Now, we've been hearing lions calling all night and not far from camp. I do think there are possibly other lions around, and we're going to try and find them this morning. But we bumped into these two, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did call at some point during the course of the evening. But I do think there might be others around. What a great start to the morning. And I think possibly because it's a bit cooler, that's why they're lying right next to each other and almost on top of one another, and resting because they've been so active during the night. I'm sure a little bit later they'll probably get up and start moving. Don't forget, everyone, we are completely live, so those of you who want to comment and send us your questions, you can do so via Twitter, either at hashtag Safari Live, or email us questions at WildEarthTV, and we'll gladly answer your questions, and we love hearing from all our viewers. And I'm trying to think now. I'm contemplating what our plan for the morning is going to be. We're fortunate to find these lions very early, but I think we may leave them very shortly because they're not doing too much. They seem to be resting, and see if we can't find some of the other lions that were calling last night, and perhaps go and check that hippo carcass where all the hyena were yesterday. But while we do that, let's head over to Brent, and he has got some leopards for you.
Welcome to the Sunrise Safari. There is Hasana/the Clown. He is behaving like a buffoon this morning, nearly falling out of every tree. There's young Shongile. Now, fortunately, Hasana, you're not being very, very graceful this morning in your descent of the tree. Oh, that was a bit better. Oh, sister's hissing. So we are lucky there is a little bit of meat left. I wasn't expecting there to be. And there's little Shongile. So it looks a bit bigger than a newborn impala, probably one of last year's babies. And Karula is just behind the bush, hiding. And good morning, my name is Brent Smith. I've got Gert on camera with me today, and isn't this wonderful? Before the sun has started, sun has started, the sun never stops, apart pardon me, before the sun has risen, we've got lions and leopards live here in the African bush. Remember, this is 100% live, so this little leopardess is enjoying her breakfast while we sit mere feet from her, and you can ask us questions by using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can send us an email to questions@wildearth.tv. What a wonderful way to start the morning. And there isn't much left, but while there is meat, and while it's cool, and Hassan is likely to play the fool, oh, I can rhyme, we're going to sit right here and enjoy the spectacular morning. Now, as the sun rises, hopefully we'll get some incredible light on these leopards. So those screenshot fanatics, a bit of patience, and you could get that Golden Light award-winning leopard shot. Remember to share all your screenshots on Twitter with the hashtag Safari Live, or pop them on Facebook on the Safari Live Facebook page, or share them on one of the many numerous groups that our incredible viewers have started. Yes, there's not much there, little Shongi. At least you had a squirrel snack as well yesterday. So as we've said, I've probably killed quite a few small things, but yesterday was the first time we got to witness it live. Young Hosanna dashed after a squirrel, caught it, let it go, and Shongile finished the job and ate half of it before deciding she doesn't like the taste of squirrels. Michael says it's unbelievable how much they've grown. They don't look like cubs anymore. They look like true, proper leopards. Yes, well, they are just under 10 months now. And what's the date today? Do you know? 28th. And so 29th, 30th. It's 4 days till their 10-month birthday. And look at little Hasana hiding behind the Ziziphus thicket. And little Shongile is plucking the fur like a pro this morning. No, I'm not sure there's much use in plucking the fur. There's not much meat left there. But I suppose practice makes perfect. Well, as lovely and fluffy as leopards look, Donna's wondering, is their fur soft or coarse? Well, I'd say it's in between. Their belly fur is quite soft and fluffy, and their fur around their back is relatively coarse. See, there's the soft and fluffy belly, but not nearly as soft and fluffy as a domestic cat, for example. Oh, she looks like she's having much fun. As I said, I'm not sure what point there is to plucking that fur. There's pretty much only skin left on that impala. What have you heard? What have you seen? Oh, wait, what's that? Lions calling in the distance. That's what they've heard. Quite far away, though. Not the lions that are with Byron. They're other lions calling to the east. I'm sorry, just got to be on the... Oh, no. Byron's got it. So I heard a question there, so I didn't catch the name. The Game Drive channel was making lots of noise, but Lindsay, there we go. So Lindsay was wondering, why do female leopard cubs gain independence at a younger age than males? Ooh, Lindsay, now that's a question. It's got a relatively complex answer, but let's just see if we can see what Karula's up to. and see if we can get a position where we can, oopsie. And see, there's Karula. She's got some of the carcass, not much. Good morning, Queen Karuls. There we go. Oh, we got 2 of them from here. Now, Lindsay, now that we're into a better spot, we can discuss why do female leopards become independent at a young age. Where are you going now, madam? Just looking for a more comfortable spot to rest. Of course, it's where her face is obscured by a buffalo thorn. Any big trees behind us? No. There we go. And so, Lindsay, there we go. Oh, our camera's having a mind of its own this morning. I think if you zoom all the way out and then in again. Okay, there we go. Aha. So, Lindsay, it's very interesting. So, for a female leopard, her best chance at spreading her genetic line comes through the males. So, they tend to spend more time with the males and look after the males slightly better. Now, with a female, and depending on the leopard densities of an area, Karula, in this case, will probably pass over a core section of her territory to a Shongile, and what that means is she's probably not going to have to fight when she's very young, so she can get started with the business of marking out her own territory. And you often find that a female leopard and an adult female leopard will be surrounded by her female offspring, and as she gets older, her territory gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and towards the end of their life, when they're quite old, they live in very small territories, but normally surrounded by female offspring. Of course, it all depends on competition. It's not a definite fact of law, but it generally works that way. Whereas with a male leopard, she'll spend more time raising it. He will obviously move away from his natal territory, and he'll be able to spread her genes far and wide with lots of different females. So he's also got a much tougher start to life, because the female, of course, gives across this little prime section of territory to her female offspring. The males have to go wandering, and it's very dangerous when you wander. You can run into other male leopards that'll try kill you, lions, hyenas, etc. So generally the males need a bit more looking after. They need to be a bit bigger and a bit more developed before they strike out on their own. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here, because we've got a female and a male cub. And sometimes when there's 2 sexes, the female might hang around with mom a little bit longer than she would normally, and that's just because she's still looking after the male. And look at them, the glutton, the fat boy, the clown, the little king, the little prince, Hosana. Looks like he's tired of falling out of trees this morning. He is going to be a magnificent male leopard. He's already nearly the same size as mom, and he is growing rapidly. Hey, little one. James says Hosana and Shongile seem very, very tolerant of each other. If they were male cubs, would we be seeing more arguments? I don't think too many more arguments. At this age, the leopards, especially out of the same litter, are very tolerant of each other. They start becoming less tolerant the older they get. So these guys are still under a year old, so still very much in the mom's paws, so they are quite tolerant. And the one thing you will have noticed with the leopards as we watch them, they never feed on the carcass at the same time. Karula will feed, or Hosana will feed, or Shongile will feed, and that's because they are solitary cats, so they don't really like feeding together, and it'll become more and more apparent the older they get, and the distance between the siblings will increase over the next 6 months. As I said, it's not a hard and fast rule. As soon as you make hard and fast rules out in the African bush, the animals will show you differently. So we make the rules, not them. They didn't read the safari books. They get to make up their own rules. Oh, it's tired kitty. Now, Joanne's wondering how many pounds of meat can Karula and her cubs eat in a day. So if we average out over a month what a female leopard eats, she'll eat between 5 and 6 kilograms of meat a day. I'm trying to do the pound conversion. That's probably about 15 pounds, more or less. No, it's less. There's more. Oh, it's around there. But with the three of them, they'll probably eat 50 pounds a day on average. So keeps Karula very busy. I mean, she only caught this impala yesterday. If it had been her by herself, its impala maybe have lasted 2 nights, but with the 2 hungry scallywags, it hasn't even lasted a night. I mean, it is pretty much done. Shongile and Karula are literally trying to extricate the dregs of this carcass. There's Karula. She's chewing on what looks to be a leg bone, trying to get to the marrow. Now, if it was an adult impala, she probably wouldn't be able to do that, just because the bone would be too developed. But with a younger impala, yum yum yum, bone marrow, good for the bones. Looks like she's enjoying it. I think the lion's roaring in the distance again. Yep, quite far away. You can hear those bones crunching. So as she gets down towards or up actually towards what we would call the thigh bone, if we had to compare it, and whether it's a bit thick. She might try crack this one open, but I think it could be a bit too thick for her. But here we go, she's going to try. Now, her molars and premolars are like an incredibly strong pair of side cutters. So like a pair of pliers, but I think that bone might be a little bit on the large side for her. And since she's going for the smaller, lower leg bone now. She's just picking little bits of meat that are left on the bone off. And now she's going to try crush it again. She's still very alert to all the sounds around us. Now, I've been very lucky growing up in the bush, and Fuzzman Sparkles would like to know, what is the most fascinating leopard hunt I've ever witnessed? Ooh, that's a good question. I've seen quite a few. I'm just trying to think which one stands out the most. Oh, a couple of well, in this part of Africa, there was a male leopard called the Campan male. And I watched him grab a baby buffalo out of a herd of 400 and then take that buffalo straight up a tree. I think that's what in this area the most fascinating leopard hunt. One of my favorite leopard hunts that we used to see quite regularly in Botswana. There was a female leopard who fell out of a tree and actually got her leg caught in a fork and damaged it quite badly. So she wasn't really able to hunt big prey, but she used to hunt spring hares, which is basically a cross between a kangaroo and a rat, but quite big, and they hop. And she used to catch 7 or 8 in a night and stash them in trees and just keep catching them, and that's because she wasn't able to catch normal prey. Oh, it looks like Karula's given up on what's left. Okay, well, looks like Karula's finished feeding. We're going to sit here, see what happens next. While we do that, let's go back to Byron, who's gone to check on the retired hippo at Sydney's.
So I've come to have a look in this area. I know yesterday there was some hyena activity, but nothing this morning just yet. Just a lot of vultures and marabou storks all feeding on that hippo. And I'm surprised that there aren't any hyena around at the moment. I would have thought there will be more. But it's always worth having a look, and I wasn't sure if perhaps the Nkuhuma Pride, maybe if they had smelt this or heard all the commotion or followed some of the vultures. They do that occasionally, if they had come to this carcass, but it doesn't appear to be any sign of them. Now, I know that male and female yesterday managed to kill a buffalo, but I'm surprised they moved off. I don't know why they moved off from that area. So what I'm going to do is probably head back into that area. I think it was off Zoe's Road where Jamie had them yesterday, and go and investigate around that buffalo carcass and see if there aren't lions there or perhaps hyena activity around that area. So I think that's our next plan. It's nice to be able to drive around and have a look at different carcasses and hopefully find some animals along the way. But this is very interesting, all these vultures and that down feeding already so early in the morning. No thermals rising yet at all. It's very, very cool, but they obviously very hungry. Look at that vulture sunning its wings, white-backed vulture sunning its wings. Yeah, it's the marabou stork on the left there. It's amazing to watch some of these vultures, how aggressive they get around carcasses. They do attack each other. They run after each other with their feet out and their wings spread. So what they'll do is they'll lift one leg and they try and kick the other vulture. It's very funny to see. But they do get quite aggressive around carcasses. William, you wanted to know, are those swallows flying around? And I think there are a few crossing through the frame of the camera. They are indeed swallows, and I think those are lesser striped swallows. It's difficult to tell. They're very fine. I can't even see them with binoculars. I wouldn't even be able to tell you exactly. Either lesser striped or barn swallows that are flying around there at the moment. Oh wow, and have a look at this wildy up in the dam, the tree on the right hand side in the dam. There's a fish eagle, but that's a juvenile fish eagle. And I say a juvenile or youngster, it's almost reached full adult plumage, because you can still see some brown speckling around the white head. Beautiful African fish eagle. Haven't seen one of those in this area for quite some time. So that's a nice little sighting of one. That's great. I'm surprised it's here actually because there's not a lot of water in this dam. Usually the fish eagles do prefer the rivers and bigger dams where there's a lot more water where they can fish. But it might be easy, probably because this dam is drying up, might be easier for that fish eagle to hunt fish in the water. So perhaps that's why it's there. The lions went quiet, and just before we went out and drive, there was a lot of calling, but they seem to have stopped. So I'm curious. I think they're just very active during the course of the evening and resting now. Maybe we get some more lion audio or lion calls a bit later. William, you wanted to know if those vultures would stay on the ground during the course of the evening with a carcass like that? No, they wouldn't. I've never seen vultures stay on the ground at night. They would be very, very vulnerable, and I've never seen it happen before. The vultures will fly off and roost in the trees, and there's still one or two up in the trees. If you have a look just off to our right, there's one up there. So I'm assuming that most of those vultures would have been sitting up in a tree like that and waited just for the morning sunrise, and then they would have gone down to feed on the carcass. They wouldn't have stayed down there. Anyway, I think what we're going to do is let's head down to that area where that buffalo carcass was yesterday, and let's go and investigate around there, see what's going on. But nice to see feeding activity from these birds on the carcass, so everybody benefits from it, which is a great thing. And I think, why don't we head back to Brent, who's still sitting with those beautiful leopards.
Well, Shongile has given up on what's left of that carcass, but Karula, with her more developed, more powerful jaws, has moved onto the carcass. She can probably get a little bit more out of it than a little Shongile. Hosana, the trouble, is causing trouble on the other side of a little dip. Where are you off to now? He's off to the left there. Where are you off to, mister? The sun is rising. We're going to get some fantastic light here in the next 10 minutes or so. Oh, he's coming back. He's stalking his sister. That's a long stalk. I think you're going to get spotted. I can hear the chip chip of woodlands kingfishers. Oh, he's given up on his stalk. There we go. Now you can see the sun popping up above the eastern horizon, starting to throw some nice light on Karula. And hopefully the cubs get playful soon. But what a way to start the sunrise safari. I couldn't think of a place I'd rather be than sitting with these incredible leopards here in the middle of the bush, quite far from any road. And it was definitely worth our while following her through the thick bush yesterday to get to this very spot. Here we go, you can see that light coming through. Morning, Roxanne, who's watching on Periscope. Roxanne would like to know, will Hosana, when he's a bit older, fight with his father for territory if they come across each other? Roxanne, so male leopards generally only are able to claim territory when they're quite old, so 5 to 6 years old. By that stage, Hosana will probably be far, far away from where his dad or possible dad lives. Oh, Shongile is cleaning her claws just behind Karula there, just like your domestic cat would. Are you going to go? Oh, I think there's going to be a bit of jumping and running. There we go. She's too smart for you, mister. So as I was saying, Roxanne, he'll probably be multiple territories over. He's not going to be able to even think about having an argument with an adult male till he's 5 or 6 years old. Size is just so different between a young male and an adult male leopard. Ooh, look at that. Stalk me, I'll stalk you. Oh, gotcha. So all these little games, stalking, pouncing, jumping, are all practice for when they get older. Hasana, you got caught. Oh, I wouldn't stalk Mom while she's eating. You might get into trouble. Let's just stick with the little cub for now. There we go. As I said, the cubs are going to be quite playful at the moment. Oh, isn't that sweet? Bite, 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 bite. And you'll notice when leopard cubs play, they're almost silent in comparison to the little lion cubs who make lots of noise. And that's because the lion cubs have the safety of the pride. And quite often when the leopard cubs are playing, excuse me, they've been left by their mothers while their mother's out hunting. So the quieter you are, the better chance of survival. Oh, are we going to try climb the tree? Thinking about it. Also thinking about harassing Mom. Probably not a good idea while she's eating, as I said. Maybe. Oh, Karula just hissed and Hosana immediately sat down. Now Judy says she can't see the wow on Karula's face, so if we zoom in tight between her eyes. Now, it needs a bit of imagination, but it's that very big W in between her eyes on her forehead there. So the closer you go, the less it looks like a wow, it seems, but you can see a W. So Judy, if you're on Twitter, I'm sure one of our incredible viewers will actually put up a screenshot with the highlights of the wow for you. I think it's going to be a bit difficult for me while we're sitting next to them to start putting my finger in front of camera. So guys, if you've got one of those shots, I know you do, showing the wow on Karula's forehead, please could you share it so Judy can have a look. Now, you can still see the indentation on Karula's belly. She hasn't managed to get much of this little carcass. The cubs have eaten most of it. So, a strong possibility she'll hunt again today. Ooh, stretching again. Now, Kindness is wondering, do leopards phlegm and grimace like lions? And can both males and females do it? They can, and it is. Both sexes do. Oh, go to the cubs. They're going to charge again, it looks like. Oh, she's going up a tree. There we go. Playtime. Oh, son. That was a very weak attempt at catching your sister. Sorry, Kindness. Yes, they do. All cats do. I mean, even zebra, giraffe, impala, most animals, all phlegm and grimace. Well, she's going quite high. You can just see the tree moving from here. It's a very small tree. To see, look at that, it's incredible. That tree can barely hold her weight, I would say, but she's having a grand old time. Tax also Karula and Mfumo still in the same position, but they've moved out into the open on the southern edge of the Shkova and very active. A firm Karula. Look at that. And it's exactly what we're hoping for in this early morning. Playful leopard cubs. Oh, is Hasana going to try emulate sister? Now, White Lady Erwin said, for us new viewers, what do the cubs' names mean and what language is it in? Oh, here we go. Stork, Stork, Stork. Just don't stalk your mom while she's eating, you'll get in trouble. So that is little Hasana. Hasana means the little prince or the little chief. Oh, you're going to get snarled at. I told you. Naughty. Don't bother mom while she's eating. Sorry, there we go. That's Hasana, who's quite naughty this morning. And as I said, little prince or little chief. Shongile is the female. And her name means exquisitely beautiful. And the language of origin of those names is Xitsonga, which is the local language spoken in this area. And she is definitely exquisitely beautiful. Is she coming to go pounce on her brother now? Look at the ears go back. Stalk mode. Gets flat to the ground. Oh, she was spotted. That is the nice thing about getting to leopard cubs very early in the morning. While it's still cool, they can be very playful, as these two are at the moment. They spotted something. Oh, have a look where they're looking. No. I can hear some testiculars. Rattling testiculars, rattling away. That seemed to grab their attention for a split second. Oh, having a scratch against the branch. There's little Hasana. Sorry guys, just got to chat on the Game Drive channel. I'll explain it in a second. Standing by, Tux. Yeah, a little bit. Karula's feeding and the Mampimpans are Lala. Copy, Tux. I think best access is probably going to be from Batalea. You can get through from where you went through yesterday, but they're out on the edge of that sort of open patch on the southern side of the Shkova. Oh, wrestling again. Oh, off they go. Big games this morning. Now, Price is wondering what is the length of a leopard's tail compared to its body. Well, it's actually quite interesting. Sometimes you find leopards that seem to have... Oh, wait, the cubs are on it again. Off they go, charging around. Let's just have a look what they're about to do, because you can see they're in Stork mode. Price, I haven't forgotten about you, don't worry. I will answer your question now. I just want to see what the cubs get up to. What are you two up to? Are you going to carry on chasing each other? Now, Price is wondering what is the sort of proportion compared to body and tail. Oh, has she gone up a tree? Oh no, just tackling each other. I just heard that. So, it's generally almost exactly the same length as their body, and of course it varies from leopard to leopard. She is going up the tree, the back, look at her go. Now, there we go, Shongile's, there we go, you got it, zoom. There she is. Oh, look at that, showing her agility. Being a little bit lighter than her brother, she is able to get to some smaller branches, and she just seems to be a little bit more nimble than Hosanna. And I'd like to see Hosanna try to stand up there. I think he might fall out. It'd be quite funny. Shongile, don't let me down now. I've said you're the more nimble of the two. And now she's off down. Now, oh, so that's a good spot to have a rest. Yeah, she's coming down. Hasana is lying in ambush not too far away. So, there he comes. And off they go again. Guys, I'm just going to move the vehicle a little bit to where they're playing. We might get a better visual. Just trying to see where to get. Are we behind us there? Any big stumps? No. So I'm just going to move the car around so we can get a better visual of where the game seems to be at. I'm just trying to see where's the best spot to position ourselves. Anyway, there they are, and this is where the games have been played mostly. So hopefully we're in the right spot now to see the shenanigans of Shongile and Hasana. Well, it was quite chilly this morning. It's warming up quickly, so I'm just taking off my jacket. Although Cat seems to be immune to the cold. I haven't seen him put a jacket on yet, even though it's been very cold and the windy and the rain. Oh, don't turn your back. Oh, let's pick up a stick. Okay. Now, Alice is wondering whether young Hasana will be able to make the sawing sound yet. Not yet, Alice. And even once he's able to, he's not going to saw again till he's 5 or 6 years old, till he's ready to compete for territory. Shongile giving herself a little bit of a groom. Here we go. Just come a bit wider. Hassan is stalking her just up there. He's about to leap. Okay, he's stalking very slowly. We're just going to stay on Shongile because that's where the action's going to happen. Oh, come on. Oh, you've been spotted. Shongile has now spotted him. Doesn't mean he's not going to pounce still. Ah, he's given up. Decided he was spotted. And it's not so much fun when you're spotted, so he's turned his back now. It is warming up quite quickly, as I said, but hopefully there's still going to be quite a bit of playfulness from these cubs. And what will happen is, once they've Karula's finished that Impala carcass, there's a possibility that they might go for a drink at one of the pans. So we're going to stick here. I think Karula might go hunting again. So she might even leave the cubs in this spot while she goes to try and secure another meal. Oh, here we go. Hassan is getting ready to pounce. Now, Lindsay is wondering, do I think it's possible that Karula kills and catches, or kills and eats things without bringing the cubs? I mean, it is a possibility. There we go. It is a possibility, but I mean, she caught that very small impala, the baby Inyala, baby Darker, yet she brings the cubs. Maybe she eats the old squirrel or dwarf mongoose while she's away from them, but generally it looks like she does bring them. It does bring them back. The cubs to most of the sort of larger kills, even the not so large kills. Are you going to get hissed at as well for disturbing Mom while she eats, Shongile? I think you're a bit smarter than your brother. Oh, look, there she goes. Careful, Mom's going to hiss at you. Yeah, see, you're clever. You pretend to jump on Mom, but you don't touch her. It keeps you out of trouble. Having a good sniff of the tree. I actually saw Karula scent mark that tree yesterday, so maybe she's just smelling Mom's scent mark. Good sniff, sniff. She likes that tree for a good paw clean or claw clean. It's the third time she's scratched on that very tree. Oh, up she goes. Both the cubs will climb trees for fun, up and down, and it's a really good practice. And of course, trees are very important for leopards in a couple of reasons. The most important at this age reason to have good tree climbing ability is to avoid other predators. And we have seen both these cubs scramble up trees to avoid African wild dog. Oh, onto the small little branch, testing her agility. Jump back and down. Aaron says this is a lovely sighting. Well, I think we're about to get another ambush. Aaron, it is indeed a lovely sighting. Beautiful, clear day, and the cub's nice and active and playful. Swat! Look at her lying on her back, paws in the air. She's not done with her games yet, exploring, climbing. Oh, here we go. Look at Hasana. Oh, she's turned her back. Do I have the opportunity? Yes, I do. Pounce! Oh no, she heard him coming. Too quick for you. Where are you off to, Troubles? Oh, into the rocks. Look at that on top of the rock. Now Chai Connie is wondering, what are the chances of these cubs reaching adulthood now that they've made it this far? Every month they get closer to a year, it gets better and better. So leopard mortality is about 70% in cubs till they get to a year old, and as soon as they get down over a year old, it drops significantly to about 10 or 12%. And then again, male mortality rate rises again when they become independent and nomadic to about 25 or 30%. And then after they've established themselves at 5 or 6 years again, it again drops to very low till they get very old. And male leopards sort of over 13 or 14 years old, mortality rises again to 70%. Females only sort of after 14, 15 does that mortality rise again quite high. Okay. Morning. The mumpimpans are running from that side to the side, that side to the side. They're on top of the rock over there. Sorry, Taxon's just arrived with his guest. I'm just explaining where the leopards are. And they're sitting on top of one of the few rocks we have at Djuma. We don't have too many big rocks on Djuma. I'm quite sure they will head back this way towards Mom shortly. And you can see how incredible the leopard's camouflage there as we zoom out a little bit. They just melt into the bush. Come on guys, come back. Well, as you can see, not much action right now. There's a sleeping leopard on top of a rock. And Karula's nearly finished with what's left of the carcass. There's Karula. I'm going to keep an eye on the cubs in case they come bounding back. Max is wondering, why are leopards so much cleaner than lions when eating? Well, Max, it's because there's no competition. So even though there are 3 leopards here, they all eat separately and they don't feed at the same time. Whereas with lions, it's a bun fight. Get in there, get as much food as possible, as quick as possible, and before the rest of the pride can. So that's the main reason. Oh, the cubs are down and up again. There we go. Come on, come back this way. Just grabbing at any any little appendage that hangs down. Shongile is grabbing at Hasana's tail or foot. We come a little bit wider and a little bit up. You'll see what they're watching. A little bit to the left. Oh no. There was a Franklin. He suddenly saw the leopards and decided, I'm out of here. Well, here he goes. Here come little Shongile back towards Karula. To the left. She's coming back out into the open. Now, where's her brother? Is he going to Stork? No, he's still sitting on top of the rock. While things have calmed down here slightly, we're not going to go anywhere just yet. And let's go see what Byron's found.
And we found this buffalo carcass from yesterday, everyone. And nothing seems to have fed on it. The lions have moved off. They hardly touched it. It looks like they chewed a little bit around the stomach area, but nothing's touched this carcass, which I'm very surprised about. Other than flies, a lot of flies around. So I wonder, perhaps some vultures might find this carcass during the day. It is a little bit covered though. It's under some guarri trees. So it might be hidden well enough that the vultures won't get to it. But I'm surprised perhaps later during the day or tonight you might get hyena coming through into the area. But no sign of the lions around here. So not sure where the Mfumo pride is. There's some vultures up there. There we go. And the hooded vulture on the left, and on the right is the white-backed vulture. So these vultures will be waiting. So I think they've seen it, they know the carcass is here, so they will come down and feed at some point. And I'm sure with them coming down, other vultures will see them and they will come through and feed on the carcass too. The vultures rely on the outside too, and they follow each other a lot when it comes to finding carcasses. As soon as one comes down, the rest will start following and they'll all come down to feed. But now it's interesting, this technically isn't that far from where we had the hippo carcass earlier. It's about a kilometer or two away. So I would say that the vultures feeding there. Well, there are a lot of vultures feeding on that carcass, but the vultures, if they find this, they'll still come through here, and maybe other vultures in the area, like these ones that have been sitting around us. Anyway, I think that's enough of a buffalo carcass. And Queen Truth there, the vultures do indeed have a pecking order when it comes to feeding. What happens is generally it would start with the big leopard-faced vulture, that rather large vulture. Let me show you quickly, hang on. Let me just stop here, I'll get my book out. Sorry, I'm just having a quick look. Here we go. How'd you find all the vultures? What's happened to them here? Oh. Okay, so okay. There we go. So the hierarchy basically goes like this when it comes to feeding. When vultures come down and feed, if these vultures are around, these big leopard-faced vultures would feed first. They do chase the other vultures away. So in this area, the leopard-face does get to feed first if it comes to a carcass. The white-headed vulture is quite large too, and that would most likely also get to feed before some of the other smaller vultures. Then the white-backed vulture, who we see a lot of them, so they do get to feed on a lot of the carcass before some of the other smaller vultures. However, they would feed about the same time as, and let me just show you here, as this hooded vulture. And then we saw that hooded vulture sitting with the leopard-faced vulture. So that little one over there. So these ones, interestingly enough, the hooded vultures are often the vultures that get to the carcass first, and when they feed on it, well, they try to feed on it before the larger vultures get there, because as soon as the bigger vultures come in, they generally get pushed off. So it'll be leopard-faced, and then most likely white-backed vultures, and then hooded vultures, if they are all at the carcass together. And again, that's just in this area. Obviously, in other parts of South Africa, where the different vultures occur, it could be a different hierarchy when it comes to feeding. Alright, now I know Jamie had Tingana in this area yesterday, and I'm going to try and see if I can find that male leopard, because we haven't had any further sign of the lions. It would be wonderful to see a male leopard this morning. I know Brent has had an amazing sighting with Karula and her cubs, a beautiful female and her cubs. And that is, it's a very, very special sighting to be able to see leopards so active and playful. And I know yesterday too, those little cubs chasing a squirrel, and the one youngster being able to catch and kill a squirrel, and that's all a learning process for it, of hunting and how to be stealthy and agile. And I mean, it's not easy to catch a squirrel, so that's an incredible feat in itself. I'm just having a careful look around this area, see if I don't see any tracks of a leopard. I'll try and head into that last position, perhaps where they had him yesterday, and we can just have a look around there and see if we can find him. It's starting to warm up a little bit. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning. Clear blue skies. It's wonderful. Really, really, really great. Sally, I agree with you. We haven't seen elephant or giraffe for quite some time in the area, not like we were seeing a few weeks ago. And I think all that's happened is because the rainfall has increased around these areas, and sorry, I'm just trying to have a look around here to see if I see any vehicle tracks going off anywhere. So, Sally, I think because the rainfall's increased, there's a lot of food and vegetation all over. So these animals don't need to just stay in the area like they were doing a while ago, because they were looking for, or they can look for food elsewhere now. And I think that's all that's happened. It's caused them to spread out and move around a lot more. Because we definitely have not seen, I've hardly seen elephant in this period of time that I've been at Safari Live, the last 2.5 weeks. And I miss the elephant. I do. I love seeing them. Seems to be fairly quiet to this side too. Jamie, all the way from Canada. Good morning to you, Jamie, from South Africa. And Jamie, you wanted to know about crocodiles or alligators. Now, we don't have alligators in Africa at all. We only have crocodiles, and the Nile crocodile to be exact. And we don't really have crocodiles in this area. We don't have enough permanent water to have big crocodiles. But I say this area, this is just the Djuma area where we operate. Just south of us though, Jamie, and probably 5 kilometers, there's a big river called the Sand River, and in there are plenty of crocodiles. There are crocodiles in the Kruger area, many crocodiles, but they prefer big dams or more permanent water and the rivers. So unfortunately we don't get to see crocodiles on Djuma. You can hear a magpie shrike calling, that beautiful long-tailed shrike. Let's see if we can find it quickly. Can you see? Right at the top, there we go. There he is. That beautiful magpie shrike. You can hear a red-chested cuckoo calling in the distance too. There's some Egyptian geese. Probably a little bit too far, just out of earshot for you, but a lot of birds calling at the moment. It's a lovely morning, so I think there'll be a lot of bird activities early, while it's still fairly cool, and probably a lot of activity. Them trying to feed, maybe catch insects for some of these bird species. One of those birds that love insects are the woodland kingfishers. We know how much we love seeing them. We're starting to see a lot more of them now. More of them arriving for the summer. Just having a careful scan around. It's, even though we're not seeing too much, it's still so nice to be out this morning, and it's so peaceful. It's very, very peaceful. It's a wonderful time of the day. There's a little, it's mud wallow just off to the left, but it's completely dry at the moment. But as soon as we get some more rain, this will most likely fill up with water. You'll get a lot of animals coming down and wallowing in the mud. There are a lot of tracks around there: elephant, buffalo, and probably warthogs, and animals will also come and drink from these mud wallows. But you'll find some of those larger animals would love to use that, cover themselves in mud. It helps protect their skin, keep them cool, and also gets rid of a lot of ticks that sit on them. Often what they do, especially buffalo, they'll go wallow in the mud, they'll cake themselves full of the mud, and then as it dries, those ticks then get caught in the mud, and they'll go and they'll rub and scrape up against a tree or a stump, and that will then get rid of some of the ticks that are sitting on them. Dina, you were saying it looks so green and leafy compared to the last time we were here, and it does indeed. I mean, if you have a look just off to our left, you can see the vegetation around here. Very, very green. And that again goes hand in hand with the comment I made earlier about there being a lot more food and vegetation around for these animals, all these herbivores. And it's because there's been a lot more rainfall, so that obviously helps, and the animals are able to move around and find food and water very, very easily. So last time, and it was interesting, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, Djuma was very, very green because of the rainfall. We had got some early rainfall, which helped rejuvenate the area quite quickly. And a few kilometers south in other areas, it was still barren, very, very dry. But it seems to have evened out now quite a bit. But we do still need a lot more rain. We haven't had enough rain for the year yet. And hopefully, I mean, they've been predictions say that we're going to get a lot more rain, so hopefully it does happen. I'm sure it will. We've still got a long rainy season ahead of us. When we say rainy season, it's not like monsoon rains. It only rains maybe once every 2 weeks if we're lucky. And you can get those beautiful storms sometimes coming through, and they'll storm and there's thunder and lightning. One evening it passes through, and it just everything, all the little pools and mud wallows fill up, and it's so nice to have a big storm in the bush. So, Jason, the rainy season in the Kruger area is generally from about November to about February, March. Now there's a beautiful little bird calling. Starlings wren warbler, and I wonder if we can find it. Tiny bird, and it's very difficult to find. I'm sure you can hear it calling. It goes bit of a metallic sound, but they are very difficult to spot. I mean, a small little brown bird with flakes on it, or little flecks on it. I'll show you. And we managed to see one the other day, very briefly. I think Brent got one on the big birding day. Here we go. The Starlings wren warbler at the bottom. Sorry, not. There we go. That little tiny little bird, and it makes such a wonderful sound, and you hear them a lot in this area, but to see them is very, very difficult. I got to see one the other day, and I was trying to think. I don't think I've seen one properly in about 5 years, and I mean, you've got to really go take time and look for them and sit in an area and wait for it to come out and fly out. It's basically the only time you get to see them. James Richard, you say it feels like we haven't seen a living buffalo for a long time. James, you're 100% right, we haven't actually. And again, 3 weeks ago, we had that big herd of buffalo moving through Djuma every day, and they've just all disappeared. They've gone into areas where there's other food and water. So yeah, we haven't seen a buffalo, you're right. And I've been doing a lot of the bushwalks lately, and I can't believe how few buffalo we've seen. I can't remember. I think it was a week or two ago was the last time I saw buffalo on foot, or actually on Djuma. Not too much wildlife around here at the moment, not even the odd impala. Liz, it does look like the rains, or it does. So hopefully it does pick up a little bit more and we get more rain during the rainy season. We're approaching a drainage line now. And it's always nice to check down in these thicker areas. Bird is up there. Two little glossy starlings. And I think because I'm down in the drainage line, I might be struggling with a bit of comms with the final control, which is a bit tricky. As soon as we dip down a little bit, we can lose him sometimes. I think Brent is still sitting with Karula and her cubs. Let's head back to her. I'm going to stay in this area and look for Tingana.
Not much there. And I don't think their jaws are quite developed enough to break open that skull just yet. But, oh, in comes little Shongila as well. She's just off the front of the vehicle. There we go, right there. Giving the knobthorn a good sniff. You can see the nerves reacting, that little flicker on her skin. And it's to keep the flies off her. Ooh, hiss, hiss, hiss it, sister. My impala head. Now, it's slowed down a bit as it's got warmer here. Hasana just chewing on the remnants of an impala head. Oh, what was that behind us? Franklin? Yes, they've spotted a Franklin behind us. Oh, she's chasing it. But she was spotted. Little Shongi. Naughty little one. That Franklin was wise to your ways, Shongile. Now, we've got some great news. Jamie is out on foot. And let's go say good morning. Oh, no, stop. She's gone flat again. Sorry. Let's just see. Is she going? The Franklins have spotted her. But she might try. If she goes any further to the back, are you going to lose her? Okay, let me just try swing. Just stay on her. I'm just going to swing the car around a little bit. Is that better? Okay, so she's there. You can just see the Franklin. If you come wide a little bit, there we go. There's the Franklin. There's Shongile. I think the Franklin's aware of her presence. Yes. Definitely aware of her presence. She's given up. The Stork. Oh, everything's happening here. Incoming. There's an African Harrier Hawk being mobbed. Oh, and it's disappearing. So, well, we're going to keep sitting right here to see what happens next and all the action around the royal family, but it's all slowed down for now. Shongile has stopped stalking, and as I said, Jamie's out on foot, so let's go see what her plan for this wonderful, beautiful morning is.
And a very good morning to all of you, and welcome to the on-foot portion of this sunset safari. At the moment, Jean-Andre and myself, and Herbert, of course, Herbert, the ever-present guide, tracker, and security detail, who keeps us company on these walks, is with us as well. And at the moment, we're trying to catch up with one of the biggest Nyala herds that I think I've ever seen on Djuma. There's at least 15 of them, from what I could count. I did a brief head count, and they are slowly but surely moving off in this direction, as you can see. There's our tent. That's James's office on one of his office days when he decides he wants to be in there. Little Nyalas, it's okay. Shame. They're all running off. They're running away because we are right next to one of the manager's houses, and there are two dogs behind a fence, very well behaved dogs, but the Nyala can see them and they're not quite sure what to make of them. Am I calling it the sunset safari again? Did I do it again? This is a terrible habit to get into. But a very good morning to all of you. My name is Jamie, and this is the sunrise safari. That's what happens in the morning. The sun rises, and I have Jean-Andre on camera with me, and our Nyala have gone. They have vanished off. Now, this morning we're just going for a stroll. Being on foot is probably one of the best ways of experiencing and finding things in the bush. An African potato. Some kind of tuber. Bushman's grape tuber. Okay. That I did not know. Asking Herbie, because his knowledge of the plant life out here is truly unmatchable. Now this has come from a little bush. I know there's one round here. I know it's around the front of the tent, but I'm looking for one a little bit closer to home. I saw it earlier. Now this is obviously a storage system for a plant known as a Bushman's grape. A really solid tuber. Can you eat this? You can. For medicine. So Herbie says you can eat this particular tuber for medicine. And I imagine that other animals would really enjoy this as well. Probably something like an elephant would dig it up and chew it. And that's probably actually how this one came to be above the surface of the ground. A lot of the plants have these storage structures. You know, it's essentially like a root vegetable. It's essentially a place for them to store their food and to store their water for the dry season. And us having just come through the drought that we've been through, we keep saying that like it's over, but we've had a little bit of rain, so there has been some relief. But us having come through the drought that we've been through, the plants like this would have been invaluable to things such as porcupines and warthogs and elephants and all of the animals capable of digging up such tubers. I thought potato initially because it's got all of these grooves in it, and I bet this one's died because it's been completely disconnected, but I bet that stems would grow from these hollows. I'm almost certain, like a potato. If you leave a potato out in the sun or out in a warm place and it starts to sprout from the eyes, I think this is probably the same principle for this. Oh, look. What are these called again? Oh, goodness, I've just gone blank. It's a lousy thing. Like a little wood louse. Fish moth. That's what it is. Not fish moth. Hold on, silverfish. I'm having a blank moment here. It's got the word fish in it. Tiny little thing with these three things protruding out. I think it's called a silverfish. It's called a silverfish. That is what it's called. Tiny little things with lots of legs, and I actually don't know all that much about them. I just know that we see them a lot, and I think they are one of the things responsible. That's why the word fish moth came into my head. They are one of the things that moves around in your clothes, and as a result, you get holes in them. There we go. It was a nice surprise, and that's why the walks are so much fun, because you see all kinds of things. Aha, that's a good idea. Now, can't we be civil? You want to know if I can open this up for you to see what is inside. Jean-Andre, can I borrow? Do you have a knife on you?
Several.
You have several knives on you. Yes, you do. You have many knives on you. Sorry, excuse me. I'm just going to borrow. My Leatherman has vanished, which has actually been devastating. I'm going to start carrying the knife again. Right, so let's try not to pull a Steph. Do you mind if I use this one? Let's try not to pull a Steph here and slice my finger open. And remember, kids, whenever you're cutting something, please don't be very, very careful with sharp knives. Always ask for permission and always do it under supervision. I think sometimes we forget that little fact. So there you go. It's very much like a potato. It's like a raw potato. Lots and lots and lots of water. And if I had a little bit of time, I could maybe set it down and cut it, and we could maybe squeeze it out. Although it's very solid, I think it would be almost as difficult as squeezing water out of a potato. Look here, you can see all of the moisture. Can I put it in the sun a little bit for you, Jean? Will that help you? There we go. You can see the moisture glistening. So it has the exact consistency, the exact texture of a raw potato. That is what it feels like, or perhaps a little bit like a raw potato combined with an onion. And it's quite almost soapy. Very much like it feels like very much what your hands feel when you've been peeling potatoes. That slightly slimy feel. I'm not going to eat it because, although Herbert says that it's fine, I'll try and eat it. Tastes a little bit like raw potato as well, to be honest. A little bit glassy, slightly unpleasant texture. I'm slightly uncomfortable with Jean with his knife pointing straight at him. I'm just going to pop that down next to my side. Had it drummed into me since I was a kid. You never point a knife at someone. Cool. So there you go. The African bushman's grape. Let me just see. I saw one of these plants earlier. Bear with me one moment. I'll just keep this in my hand for now. I saw a bushman's grape earlier. And I think, is there one around there? I think there's one either around the front of the tent or there's one just around the corner here. We'll go and find a bushman's grape and you'll get an idea. Oh, I know where it is. Get an idea as to what the plant is that this tuber has come from. Where is it? Oh, it's all the way back at the DRC, the one that I'm thinking of. And we'll keep going, we'll keep walking through this drainage line and up the other side, and then we'll find the bushman's grape. And I'll just cut. Nice knife, by the way, Jean-Andre. It's very sharp. This is not bushman's grape. These are all little bush willows. Let's keep walking. We'll find the bushman's grape. Should find one on the other side. Michael, you wanted to know if I ever went back to the cup of water that I buried. It's sitting outside the DRC. It's unfortunately the goblet, the bushwalk goblet, which is made from a marula. It's basically a marula capsule. And the bushwalk goblet is not 100% waterproof. So, or at least it doesn't completely hold water. So whilst it works for a quick drink, it doesn't necessarily work as a storage system. So what Michael's talking about is where Herbie showed me this entire ritual that is done between sangomas and those training to be a sangoma, which is a traditional, basically like a witch doctor, essentially. I nearly tripped over that. And essentially what they do is they will, as part of the training ritual, they soak leaves of a certain plant known as a gardenia, and they leave it for two or so days, and then they beat it with the branch from a gardenia into a foam. It forms a foamy paste, and then the trainees will eat that paste, or the foam from that, as a way of, and it's very, very symbolically done, as a way of connecting themselves to the ancestors of the guy who's training them, the person who's training them. That shouldn't be there. Somebody's binocular case, I would say. If I had to guess, probably one of ours. I'll just keep that with me. And no, unfortunately, it is back. We did collect it, but unfortunately it didn't quite hold the water that it was meant to. I'm looking to see if I can't find the bushman's grape, but since there isn't one immediately obvious, I'm going to keep searching. In the meantime, let's go across to Brent and his playful leopards.